Maxx Crosby finally broke his silence about what happened exactly in the falling out between him and the Baltimore Ravens. Also, a special AFC North that is tight end came in and visited the Ravens today. We're going to talk about that. Also, the Ravens signed a center. Who knew? Who would have thought? That and so much more here on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Like the video. Yes, all to yet another episode of Quiet Storm Sports on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. I am your host, Sutton Duff. And thank you guys. Appreciate y'all for coming into another episode of the show. I know it's been a little while since I've had the show. We did mainly all, main pods last week with me and Alex, with all the news just dropping every single day, from Maxx Crosby to Trey Hendrickson to this to that, losing this free agent, everybody. We lost a lot of free agents last week. I'm still low-key not over it, by the way. But there was a lot of big news going on last week. This week is kind of, quieted down just a tad. So here we are back on Quiet Storm Sports. Me and you, the chat here. Let me see who's in the chat. We are live right now. By the way, just got off of Coach's channel at Sip to Tally Films. We did a Ravens roundup for the first time in about a month, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. It was a great episode. Definitely recommend checking that out as well, and subscribing to Coach if you have not already. Shout out to you, Coach. Thank you for having me through today. Let me see. We have Stretch 52 in the chat. What's going on, Stretch 52? What up? What up? What up? Glaucoma's in the chat, says you're. What's going on? What's going on, Glaucoma? And King Blaze in the chat as well says, yo, what's going on, King Blaze? And as y'all continue to get in here, make sure you sound off in the chat. I want to know you're here. And if you're part of the hashtag replay gang on this one, make sure you comment down below. What do you think about this whole Maxx Crosby drama that's still seemingly plaguing the Ravens fan base right now? I know, like, when I heard what I heard earlier today, and we're getting ready to listen to it in a second here, I was kind of pissed. I got like re-pissed all over again. I know we've had about a week to kind of come down from that because Maxx Crosby, that deal fell out exactly a week ago, pretty much to this exact point right now, this exact time. I've had some time to, calm down, but what we heard today from Maxx Crosby, it was just like, bro, it just put more salt in the wound to me. And we're going to talk about that. Lisa's in the chat. What's going on, Lisa? Kamal, what's going on, Kamal? Appreciate you for coming through as well. Make sure you guys leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Lisa says, I prefer Trey Hendrickson. I mean, listen, at this point, I think I do too. Allegedly, that knee was cooked. It was cooked. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and hop right in. Let's just dive right into it, right? Let's just hop right into it. So, as I said, Maxx Crosby, he had put out a video earlier today, and it was from his podcast called The Rush. Very cool name for a podcast, especially for an edge rusher like himself. And he was saying a lot of things on, like, basically what happened in the whole Ravens falling out with him, and the reason why he didn't end up being a Raven, and kind of how that all came to fruition. Let's take a listen to what Maxx Crosby had to say about that.
Had my MRIs, I was asking Joe, like, yo, like, could I, like, before I left, I wanted to see the head coach and just chop it up, talk football, talk ball. Like, he's a defensive guy, never met him before like that, so I wanted to chop it up. So I didn't get to meet with him till the end of the day. I didn't get to see the GM at all. I thought I was going to see him when I first got there. I didn't see him for 5 hours.
So he didn't come out the whole time you're testing or doing your physical. Everyone's talking about
never.
The GM never came once out to see you.
And I don't know why. I'm not going to speculate. I didn't see him one time. I even asked the girl. I was like, "Where's Eric at?" Like, I want to say, like, you know what I mean? Like, he just made the trade. Like, I didn't see him for 5 hours. So I go and do my thing. At the end, they're like, "Yeah, I'll take you up." Joe was like, "I'll take you up and you go see the head coach, whatever, just before you leave." I was like, "Hell yeah!" I was like, "That's what I want to say what's up to him." So I went back up, and I dap him up, and you could just tell, like, the energy was a little bit off. And the GM was standing in, like, the hall, like, in the room next to me to the right, and that was the first time I seen him. And I'm just in my head, like, this is a whirlwind, like, I'm so excited, like, fired up, you know what I mean? Like, this is a new opportunity, whatever. And you could just tell the energy was off. Like, I dapped him up. He had, like, a blank face. And I'm like.
Real quick, because I know a lot of you guys know this already, but apparently Trey Hendrickson was also in the building during this time. And I can only imagine for Eric DaCosta, knowing what he was getting ready to do or what was getting ready to happen, in this Maxx Crosby trade falling out, it probably felt a lot like, it probably felt a lot like, Trey Hendrickson was the main chick and Maxx Crosby just happened to show up that day. And we're just kind of like acting weird. Like, oh, turn the shoulder, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we're not looking that way, whatever, like, hey, I didn't even know you were here. What's going on, Max? It was one of those things. That's what it feels like here. Just nasty stuff.
Okay. I'm not thinking anything of it. Maybe he's just different. I don't know. I don't know him, whatever. Yeah. I go into the room. They sit me down on the couch, and he's like, man, I don't know how to say this, but, one of our doctors has concerns with, with the results and whatever. And, like, with your knee, like, some of them have, are concerned about the future and da-da-da-da-da. And, we really want you, and this is what it is, but, we're just going to have to get more and more opinions. And I was like, the first thought in my head, like, I was terrified because I'm thinking in my head, like, what the fuck? Like, I just had, like, Neil Elitrosh, best fucking surgeon in the country, like, the best of the best. He's done all my surgeries for the most part. Like, that's my guy. Like, yeah. I go to his house. Like, that's my dude. Like, he's the best. So I haven't even got to talk to him, or I hadn't got to talk to CJ at that point. So it just kind of hit me. I'm like, what the fuck? Is there something wrong? Like, I'm freaking out, like, low key, deep down. Yeah. I'm like, I can't get another surgery. I can't, like, my time. I'm like, this is fucked up. So I'm fucking like, what is going on, bro? And CJ had been calling me right before I went up. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Real quick, just listening to Maxx Crosby talk, bro, he would have been the perfect fit in Baltimore. The perfect fit. By the way, I mean, he's got a freaking podcast called The Rush. And I mentioned this on Coach's channel, that beautiful R logo right there with the purple backdrop. I mean, it would have just been perfect. I'm getting pissed all over again. But let me let him finish what he's saying here. By the way, 70 people watching live right now. Be sure to like this video. If you're watching on YouTube, I'd appreciate that.
I'm like, CJ, let me hit you when I get out of here. And I was looking for Rachel. I don't know where Rachel's at. She was upstairs with the girls and stuff, like doing her own thing. They were.
He has no clue at this moment, like what's going on.
Yeah, Rachel didn't know, but CJ like sent a text in the group chat, and I'm like, damn.
I think Rachel is.
So anyway,
girl, so that's awkward.
Fast forward, I want to take all day, but they tell me like, yeah, we're gonna get back to you, actually. Like, we're gonna get some more opinions and things. Like, we obviously want you, this, and that. And I'm like, all right, like, okay, so we'll see. So I don't know. So then I leave. I'm like, this is what the fuck. Yeah. I get back to the hotel, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what does this mean? Like, I'm calling whatever. Then I talk to Neil. Neil calls me, and he called me way down. He's like, Max, don't.
And real quick, he's about to talk about how he got a word from his doctor that same day. But, I think I mentioned this on the last episode of the show with Alex. I was saying, like, maybe there is a possibility. I mean, according to Eric DaCosta, there's no bad blood between him and Spy Tech, and the Raiders and stuff like that, which I don't know how true that is. But I was thinking to myself, like, maybe there's an outside opportunity, an outside shot that the Ravens still have, to get this deal done and bring this guy to Baltimore. But based off of how Maxx Crosby is talking right here, bro, I mean, he would never trust anything to have to do with the Baltimore Ravens after what happened to him here. Like, and I don't blame him.
Don't listen to any of that shit. He's like, your knee is great. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, or even ahead of schedule.
By the way, his doctor was telling him exactly what he wanted to hear, which is, you're employed by Maxx Crosby, right?
Doing everything right. He's like, they know you had your surgery 9 weeks ago. It's obviously, if you get an MRI, like, he's like showing me literally like the actual literature of like, this is where it needs supposed to be at from a meniscus repair. Like, there can be MRIs that could be misleading because it's still fresh in surgery and this and this and that. He's like, listen, you're doing everything right. Everything's going well. We're going to keep sticking to the plan. He's like, you will be back by training camp. That has been the damn timeline since the beginning. That hasn't changed. Your stuff, obviously everyone's mentioned a bunch of different things. All these doctors are mentioned different.
And that's what was communicated out of your camp too, correctly? Like, during this 100%, whole time.
100%. So that's the thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got stories coming from everywhere here. That's the biggest thing for me. Like, obviously there's a whole thing with EDC giving up the 2 first-round picks to the Raiders loving that. And then EDC asking, hey, is Maxx Crosby going to be ready? Like, is he good? And the Raiders are saying, yeah, he'll be ready to go. Training camp? Yeah, sure. And Maxx Crosby's doctor saying, yeah, bro, like you just got surgery 9 weeks ago. They should know you're not going to pass the physical, but you are going to be ready to go when it's time to go. Everybody has some blame here. Everybody has some blame here. But I can only put my blame at the feet of the Ravens because you should have not allowed this trade to be publicly talked about until you knew without a shadow of a doubt that your doctor, whoever you wanted to take a look at Maxx Crosby's knee, you should have knew his analysis before letting that deal go public. That's my biggest problem with it. And I said this on Coach's channel. You call up Sin City, Las Vegas, right, and do a handshake deal before the weekend, probably going to be some shady shit going down. Just saying. You know what I mean? So I think it was just it was a miss by everybody, but I think it was just a EDC reacting too hastily to the situation, knowing that he needed to make a big swing. I think he knows that, of course, with the new coaching staff in house now, he needs to do things different, or else his job is next on the line. I mean, we just had a ceremony to get all these new guys, Jesse Minter, Declan Doyle, Anthony Weaver. They're all coming in at the same time, right? They're all one baby to Steve Bisciotti. All came at the same time. They all have a very clean slate. It's not like in the hardball days where, like, okay, we're bringing in an offensive coordinator here, bringing a defensive coordinator there, right? But we still got Harbaugh, right? Now that Harbaugh's gone, whole new coaching staff, all came in at the same time. EDC knows his job is up next. And I think something like that is what led him to making a hasty decision in agreeing to give up 2 first-round picks before he knew exactly what was going on with that knee. Now, of course, we don't know the doctor's analysis, whatever doctor from Dallas or whatever independent doctor that the Ravens got in there to take a look at Maxx. We don't know what his analysis was, but obviously it wasn't good enough. Because here's the thing about a physical, right? There is no official pass fail on a physical. Like, it's not like a binary thing like that, right? It's just an opinion, right? And you take that opinion from the doctor, Eric DaCosta, and you make your decision. The doctor can be like, I'm not really feeling this. And apparently that's what the doctor said. The doctor basically said, yeah, we have some long-term, concerns for you, Maxx Crosby. Like, you're telling me you could not have deduced that, right? You couldn't have asked your doctor, like, hey, before you take a look at him, right? And we agree to give up these 2 first-round picks before you even get to take a look at him on Monday. Like, imagine this is Friday before they make the deal. Hey, Doc, before you get to take a chance to take a look at him, what do you think about just with the injury he sustained? How soon, how long ago he got surgery and the type of position he plays? Would you, before even taking a look, would you think that there's any sort of skepticism about his long-term ability? And if the answer is yeah, then don't agree to give up the 2 first-round picks before the weekend. Because the story was public all weekend, again, to the tune of your boy downloading Madden 26. I had not owned Madden 26 until Maxx Crosby was supposed to be a Raven. Downloaded the game, edited the rosters. I wanted to see what was popping. I wanted to see what all the hype was about. It's just a hasty decision from Eric DaCosta. And again, there's a lot of people who are kind of in the wrong in this situation. A lot of people who are in the wrong. I think Maxx Crosby's doctor was telling Maxx Crosby exactly what he wanted to hear, but that's what you're going to do to your employer, right? I think that the Raiders really, really fell in love with the idea of getting 2 first-round picks for Maxx Crosby and offloading $30 million off their books, right? So they were just going to say anything, like, oh, yeah, Maxx, he's good to go. Yeah, nothing to really see here. I mean, he just got surgery 9 weeks ago. His doc says that he's just going to be good to go, right? Training camp, he'll be good. But the Ravens kind of mortgaging their future, giving up these 2 first-round picks. I mean, like, that's huge. 2 first-round picks is huge. And I've always been a proponent of F them picks, at least in the past couple of seasons I have. but it does still have to be worth it. And if it's going to be damaged goods, maybe a year or two down the line, we'd be sitting up here kicking ourselves had we stuck with that. So it's all nasty, man. It's nasty. Let me see. What's going on, Miss Fancy Pants? What's going on, Lil Said It? Taurus, what up? What up? JD, what up? What up? Appreciate y'all for coming through. Monty said they should have flew to him. See, the only thing about that is they had to, and this is according to Eric DaCosta himself. He talked to Cordell Woodland either late last week or earlier this week. Shout out to Cordell, friend of the show. But he told Cordell that, since the new league year had not started yet until that Tuesday, right, they were not allowed to actually go see Maxx Crosby and bring him in for a physical because they didn't have the player rights to him yet. Right. Technically, he was still a Raider. The new league year hadn't started yet. So it wasn't even like the new league year started and they were like, oh, yeah, trade is official pending a physical. It was kind of like a trade is unofficial pending a physical, if you know what I'm saying. Right. And there was that gray area over the week and over that weekend. Right. Which is, again, why I say EDC, this was a hasty decision because you didn't have to make this move so early. I mean, if you knew that you wanted Trey Hendrickson and you had that in your back pocket and you saw his stock falling, right? You saw that he wasn't going to be a Bengal. You saw that he wasn't snatched up immediately, right? I mean, I don't know, man. I think that you should have just waited. Should have just waited till Monday, man. Should have just waited until you can actually get in front, actually see what was up before actually making that trade. Because now you look like an ass, EDC. Now you look like an ass. Got our 2 first-round picks back, but now you look like an asshole. And you're going to have to make up by that by doing what? You got to knock it out of the damn park in this draft. You got to knock it out the park. Because we gave up on Maxx Crosby. Yeah, we got Trey Hendrickson. Awesome. Love Trey Hendrickson. He's not Maxx Crosby. He's not the all-around rush in that Maxx Crosby is, obviously. We got those 2 first-round picks back. So that first-round pick, that 14th overall, needs to be a smash hit, right? Those 4 fifth-round picks, I need to see something done with those, or they need to be smash hits, right? We need to be getting the equivalents of a Likely and Kohler and Stout, because those guys were drafted in the 4th round or later. You know what I'm saying? We need to have a great draft this year. Has to happen. So, but yeah, that was the reason that they could not fly to him, apparently. Let me see. Max talking about, yeah, I beat them every time I play him. Yeah. I mean, he wrecks our games. But he wrecks everybody's games. Miss Fancy Pants says, Sutton, we didn't leak it, did we? So see, here's what I think happened. Again, I think that on that Friday night that we found out Maxx Crosby was going to be traded to the Ravens, on that Friday night, I think that Eric DaCosta was on the phone with the Raiders GM, and he said, hey, look, Maxx Crosby for 2 firsts, of course, pending a physical when the league year starts. And the Raiders were like, yeah, nobody's been able to match that deal yet. So, yeah, we'll take that. And I don't think that the Ravens leaked it. I think what happened then was the Raiders GM got on the phone with Maxx Crosby's agent, who then got on the phone with Maxx Crosby, and probably the agent who has connections with the likes of Adam Schefter. And, that's how they got the news. Adam Schefter, Rappaport, whoever broke it originally. I think it was Shefty. Can't remember. But I think that, no, Maxx Crosby's agent let the media know. And then that's who let us know. I don't think that the Ravens wanted this to get out until they had, seen Maxx Crosby in person. Right. They didn't want to pony up the 2 first-round picks sight unseen, but they felt like they had to for some reason. That's why I have an issue with it. That's why I take issue with it. It's just, nah, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I'm not putting my eggs in a basket, and I ain't sure about the basket yet. I'm not sure if the basket is gonna, fall out the bottom. Not doing that. But no, I think it was it was Crosby's guy. Let me see who else is in here. What's going on? Eric Bennett. Eric Bennett and Chaos is in here. Chris M is in the chat as well, one of our members here. Slicer59, what's going on, Slicer? Jay the Six in the chat. What up, what up, what up? Ron Edward in the chat. Neuropsychopath in the chat. What is going on? Appreciate y'all for coming through. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Eric says, so the two teams basically effed with Max's emotions. The switch like that is what's crazy. NFL is wild AF. Can't trust, but they will protect that fake old shield through shame support to grown men, I guess you were saying. Yeah, it's a cutthroat business. It is. And like you mentioned, it sucks for the players. I mean, Maxx Crosby just sat up there and said how, he had his girl there and everything. Like, meanwhile, while all this stuff is going on downstairs and like Eric DeCosta is looking him in the face, like, we just don't know. Like, we're having second thoughts, basically. And his girl is upstairs celebrating with the other girls in the castle. That's probably got to suck. You think you're starting anew here in a championship contending town. You think you're about to move your family. There's a lot of emotions that come with that, right? Like, you're probably gonna get a new bag. Man. And then it all just gets ripped away from you. So I know how we as fans felt about it. We were kind of blindsided about that news. I can only imagine how Maxx felt, man. Can only imagine. Let me see here. Still don't trust his doctor at all. Let me see. That knee might not hold up past 2 years. Okay, so here's what I want to say about the whole knee situation, and because obviously they weren't concerned about the short term. They were concerned about the long term, which I understand. But I do also have to think about it this way. What will this Ravens team look like in 2 years? That's a question that I think is really worth asking, right? Let's say like things go really bad, hypothetically speaking, and this is me knocking on wood here, because I hope things don't go bad. But let's say things do not go as planned, how we think they are, and the Ravens end up missing the playoffs next year, maybe struggling to make the playoffs first round exit the following year, or vice versa. And what if Lamar is not happy? And then Lamar wants to go somewhere else. And then Derrick Henry is retiring. I think the time to strike is right now. While I think morale is a lot higher than it would normally be coming off of a season like we just had, it's a lot higher at this point in the offseason. Changes are being made. Go get him. I mean, it's risky. Yes, you're giving up the 2 first-round picks. But having, because they were talking about getting Maxx Crosby and Trey Hendrickson, having those 2 guys shut down rushers. I mean, the Ravens will be getting home with 3, 4, 5 guys. The Ravens were never able to get home with 4. And we see it every single year in the Super Bowl. The team that can get pressure with 4, that's the team that wins the game. So if you bring in a Trey Hendrickson and a Maxx Crosby, and the offense never gets to rest, like the quarterback never gets to rest, that would have changed the game over the next 2 years. So even if it didn't hold up past 2 years, Ron, I still think getting 2 prime Maxx Crosby years, because he's 28 right now? He's got 2 years left in his 20s. If you could have got everything that you could have gotten out of him, you could have won a Super Bowl. And if you didn't, it's like, that's an issue. Because at that point, there would have been no excuse for the next 2 years. Imagine Crosby, Hendrickson, Kyle Hamilton, Madubuike pending, Travis Jones on the other side of the football, Lamar, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, David Njoku. I didn't say it. David Njoku, anybody? David Njoku? I don't know. I think Maxx is worth the 2 first. I think Maxx is worth the 2 first. I'm not going to lie. But let's move on here. Let's move on. Maxx Crosby did break his silence. And again, it kind of got my emotions all, riled up again, just like last week. But I'm good now. No worries. So this news just came out, guys. This news just came out. earlier today, about 20, 30 minutes ago. This tweet is from Jonas Schaefer, but the bottom one is from Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter reported, he said, Browns free agent tight end David Njoku visited today with the Baltimore Ravens. Let me know what y'all think about David Njoku potentially being a Raven in the chat, in the live chat right now. And if you're part of the hashtag replay gang, leave it down below in the comments section. Do you think that that would be a good move or a bad move, bringing in David Njoku? Let me know. Jonas Schaefer quote tweeted that here and said, the Ravens would be buying low. They would be buying low on Njoku. He's rarely had a stable quarterback situation, but his yards per route run have gone down the past 2 years. Yeah. So it says solid inline option next to tight end Mark Andrews, though. That's basically what it looks like. I don't hate the prospect of Mark Andrews, who obviously is still going to be first, second read on obvious passing downs. Him, Zay Flowers, they'll probably alternate. But having a big physical, physical specimen of a tight end like David Njoku on that other side, I would not mind at all. And of course, Durham Smythe Jr. is a guy who had his reps in with the Declan Doyle back in Chicago. We'll see what he's able to offer. But I also think with this tight end class in the draft being as deep as it is, from what I'm hearing, and I've been looking at some big boards lately, you know what I'm saying? So that content's coming soon. I think the Ravens still do need to invest some draft capital into the tight end position, especially if you plan on keeping all these damn, fourth or the fifth round picks. Hit on something. But no, again, I'm not mad at David Njoku getting this. Actually, as a matter of fact, let me see David Njoku's stats. David Njoku. Let me look this up, chat. Give me a second. I'm gonna read it off to you guys. Because Jonas Schaefer talks about here his yards per route run going down over the past 2 years, but I feel like that doesn't tell the whole story. Stats don't always tell the whole story, guys, but I do want to see something here. I want to look at his just overall receiving yards. So past 3 years, right? Damn. David Njoku been in the league 9 years, man. It's been a minute. It don't even feel like it's been 9 years since Njoku's been in the league at all. It doesn't feel like that at all. But last couple of years, though, in Cleveland, 2023, he had, 81 catches for 882 yards. In 2024, he had 64 catches for 505 yards. And in 2025, he had 33 catches for 293 yards. And then touchdowns also went down year to year as well. 6 in 2023, 5 in 2024. And only 4 in 2025. Now, here's the thing about David Njoku, if he were to become a Raven. I'm not going to say you can double his totals from 2025, but I think that he would probably get at least 40% more of what he got. And the reason why I say that is because David Njoku has never played with the type of quarterback who can extend the play quite like Lamar Jackson. There's going to be times, especially if David Njoku ends up signing with the Ravens, right? There's going to be times where Njoku runs his route, he comes out of his break, right? And he sees that Lamar Jackson still hasn't thrown the ball. He's still in the pocket. He's going to be like, oh, what do I do now? And then that's when it's going to click in his head. Oh, shit, that's right. We got a guy who can basically turn one play into 2 plays. So let me go out and get open, find the soft spot in the zone here, make myself available for Lamar Jackson, show him my numbers, and he'll get me the ball. And I think that'll give a guy like David Njoku a new confidence, because David Njoku is not a bad tight end by any stretch of the imagination. I know who the Browns get, Harold Fannin last year, and he seems like their guy now. But again, we're not looking for David Njoku to be tight end 1, right? That's still going to be Mark Andrews. As much as it kind of pains me to say that, as much as it kind of pains even me to say that, I still think Mark Andrews is going to be tight end 1. And I do not mind David Njoku as a tight end 2. Let me see what y'all think about Njoku in the chat, though. Let me see. Glaucoma says, I don't care for Njoku. JD says, I like it. King Lee says, is he still in Baltimore? I don't know. You know how they be letting dudes go home. They be letting dudes go. What's going on, Heather? What up, Malik? Says, I like Njoku. Njoku can be my Raven every third Saturday. I feel like I'm missing it. I'm missing it there, Chris. I'm missing it. Let me see. Miss Fancy Pants says if that means we stop talking about Likely, then let's do it. What you got against Likely? Likely was my boy. That's my boy. Come on, don't do that. Don't do that. It's still fresh. That wound is still very fresh to me. Losing Isaiah Likely. It is. Let me see. Njoku is the best free agency tight end left. I believe so as well. Shifty Sean. And draft Mike Trigg, says Greg Carter. Yeah, I love Mike Trigg. I remember Jason was on our show a couple of weeks ago telling us about Mike Trigg. That was my introduction to him. You talk about a big body, like just honestly kind of reminds me of a Darnell Washington light almost, not quite as built like a fridge like a Darnell Washington, but damn near. And he got some moves too, a little shifty. Only thing that we were worried about was the hands a little bit, but I think those can come along. Sign Njoku and draft a tight end. Exactly. Really giving a shout out to Eli Stowers. Okay. This draft season is gonna be good, y'all. It's gonna be good. But 9 years is a minute. I didn't know he was in there for 9 years. Let me see. Look at Taurus in the chat. Give me shit as always. In the chat. Can always count on Taurus. The Boulder says Njoku is always looking for the ball in the scramble drill. Well, he's going to have a great time in Baltimore. He's going to have a blast. In Baltimore. I'll say that. And I don't mind it. Not one bit. No need to talk about other teams' players. Well, hey, look, man. Look. He visited Baltimore today, which means that the Ravens are totally interested in signing him. I don't think that they would bring him in over any other offensive line prospect, and we'll get to the offensive line acquisition as well. But any real viable candidate to start on the offensive line before bringing in a David Njoku. So I think they're going to sign him. If I was a betting man, I had to bet my money right now on whether or not they do or don't end up signing David Njoku. I think they do. And let me tell you, I like it. All right, let me see. Brandon says Andrews runs fast for one play a season and is slow the rest of the year. Okay, Andrews, he's just not running with a whole lot left in the tank anymore, guys. Andrews, I just talked about how Njoku's been in the league for 9 years. I think Andrews is probably the same, if not, 10? Maybe. Let me see. Andrews has been around since the Flacco days. Let me see. How many years he's been in the league? Oh, 8 years. Okay, so he came at the tail end of the Flacco days. But yeah, Andrews, he's just not working with a whole lot left in the tank, Unfortunate as it is, I still think that he can make some plays, especially in the red zone. Do not get me wrong there. But the Ravens have to run the ball effectively in the red zone as well to kind of set that up, So maybe we'll see Mandrews turn back the clock if this offensive line can kind of get it together and really maul guys down low when the Ravens get to the 20-yard line and beyond. But yeah, he's just not as athletic. Him, Marlon. I don't mean to say it like this, but kind of like the players of Ravens yesteryear. Guys who we put on big contracts. We've had, multiple contracts signed with these guys for a long time. They've been so good for us, but now they're just on the back half. Appreciate them for everything that they've done, but now they're just on the back half. And that's one thing about the Ravens I can say, it seems like they always hold on to players just a little bit too long, right? I think the general rule of thumb is you want to move off of a guy a year early as opposed to a year late. But the Ravens will stick around on a guy, especially in the Harbaugh regime. They were sticking around on guys a little bit too long. But if you notice, when this new coaching staff came in, they trimmed a lot of fat, or at least what they considered fat. Players like Isaiah Likely, again, I know Miss Fancy Pants is going to hate that I say that, but Isaiah Likely, Keaton Mitchell, Pat Ricard, near and dear to my heart. Those guys near and dear to my heart. Sorry, but they were, And the new coaching staff came in and said, we didn't draft these dudes, so we're gonna get these guys out. I mean, yeah, you can let them go. Call them cap casualties. We'll go ahead and we'll retool the roster with guys we want. So we'll see. We'll see. Tori says, "You my dog, son. It's just your takes." That's what happens when you get up here and you give takes every day, man. You're not gonna like it all. That's the thing. That's the thing. I get you, Lisa. I'm not happy about Pat Ricard being gone either. Bebop Raider says they were never going to get both of them. That part was silly. I guess you're talking about the Maxx Crosby thing, since you're a Raider fan, I guess. Oh, no, I definitely think that they could have got both of them done. They could have got both of them done. Might have taken a little bit extra, restructuring here and there, right? They would have played with the money to make sure that could fit under the cap. Trust me. Let me see. Don't forget to like the video, y'all. Subscribe to the channel. Again, if you are new, this is the Purple Rain Podcast and the Quiet Storm Sports Show. My name is Sutton Def. Appreciate y'all for coming through. But yeah, David Njoku visited the Ravens. Hopefully they sign him. I would actually really like that. But the Ravens actually did make a signing today. They did make a signing today, and this was for Danny Pinter, center. Pinter the center. Okay? They are reaching agreement on a deal for him. And so Jeremy Fowler says here, Baltimore gets much needed help at center. Pinter spent 5 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Ravens do need a lot of help at center. Because right now, I mean, you're looking at Corey Bullock or bust. So they bring in Danny Pinter. And I don't know if this is the much needed center help that the Ravens are looking for. As a matter of fact, I know it's not. This cannot be the final move when it comes to center. I'm still looking at the Ravens to go ahead and draft the center pretty high, or go out and make a trade for a guy. I don't really know who's left in free agency who would be a viable candidate to come in and start right away, who's still out there. But this is not the last move. Can't be. Jeff Zarebeck actually says it here. Not sure Pinter is the answer as the starter. He has started only 10 games in his career. However, he does give the Ravens some depth. Yes, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for depth with this pick right here at the position, and keeps the door open for them to draft a starting center to replace Tyler Linderbaum. And the deal is Ravens get center/guard Danny Pinter on a 1-year, $2.25 million deal. Max value is $2.75 million. So, again, you get him cheap, but he's just a depth piece. I mean, you can even just tell by how much they paid for him. He's not going to be the end-all, be-all at center. Because I talked a lot of crap, right, about Tyler Linderbaum this past season, and how he was way less than desirable when it comes to pass protection. Run blocking, not bad. It would have been even better if you didn't have Voorhees and 77 on his left and right. But I mean, this would be a huge downgrade. This would be a huge, huge downgrade. And from what I've heard, I don't know diddly squat about Pinter the center. I really don't. But from what I've heard, ears to the streets, Colts fans and the like, they're like, he's not a starter. I mean, he's a backup guy. Not really mad we lost him. So, again, Ravens can't be done. This cannot be the Ravens' end-all, be-all at center. But depth is needed. I think we drafted center in the first 4 rounds. Yeah. I mean, first round, I'm still thinking Vega, if he's there, lock down your guard spots. Okay, lock down your guard spots. If you're going to do John Simpson or Emory Jones, or and you plug in Vega, you can musical chairs, who's on the left, who's on the right, all you want. But I think that needs to happen. First 4 rounds, so I'm thinking second round you go maybe D tackle. Then third round, that's when you get your center. Okay, so I'm gonna go guard. I'm gonna go D tackle again, because we definitely still do need some insurance on Matabike. I don't know if you guys saw he posted another workout video today, so promising stuff there, but we still don't know for sure. because they haven't made any sort of announcement. But I think you go with guard, D tackle, and then third round, that's when you get your center. You got to eat your fruits and vegetables up front in this draft. It's time to do what's right. It's not going to be the sexy acquisitions. I get it. But I think that's why you invest in the trenches early. And then since this is a very, very deep tight end draft, maybe you can get a tight end in the 4th or the 5th. Even if you want to look at a receiver who may have fallen to, that 4th round, maybe you look at him there. But the reason why I'm not prioritizing, like I know some of you guys are, reason why I'm not going to prioritize getting, a wide receiver or, I don't know, a DB or something like that in some of these first couple of rounds is because what are they going to do? I mean, what are the DBs going to do if the D line can't get home? What are the receivers going to do if the O line can't block? So it starts in the trenches. So that's why I'm saying 1st through 3rd round needs to be guard, D tackle, center. In that order. World Class says, I agree, Sutton, in that order, but I don't think there's a number 14 pick guard, maybe a tackle that can play guard until Stanley is gone. I heard about Spencer Fano. He's supposed to be like that, so I don't know. We'll see, but you got to do your due diligence there. I mean, that 14th overall pick, don't spend it on candy and sweets, right? Which is basically, some sort of skill player. No. Get those big boys down low, and everything else will follow. Okay? Are we going to draft a punter? Says Lisa. That's a good question, Lisa. I mean, if the Ravens were to hold on to all of their draft picks, then yeah, I would say that they would probably do one in super late rounds, or maybe they even get a UDFA, an undrafted free agent, and they go that route. I don't see them spending a whole lot of capital though. I don't. It does suck that Jordan Stout, left. Brandon says, what position is Vega? He plays left guard. Chaos says, no more projects, get a natural guard. This I also agree with. Asmodeus, what's going on, Asmodeus? Appreciate you for coming through, my brother. Dre says, unpopular opinion, but if the Ravens took Jordan Tyson, receiver, I would not be mad at 14 because there's going to be some really good guards, center, and possibly defensive tackles in rounds 2 through 4. I just don't like taking the risk. on it. Dre, I get what you're saying here. You can get potentially one of the better wide receivers, if not the best wide receiver in the draft, maybe behind like a Carnell Tate. However, I just don't, again, in the order of operations, I think you have to go ahead and you have to lock down those guys on the O-line first. I know you're saying you can get some of those guys maybe later on in the draft, but no, I think you got to take care of what's first. Keep the main thing. If anything, I want to see EDC get in his bag, right? And give me a banger wide receiver in the maybe 3rd round or 4th round. But 1st and 2nd, absolutely not. Just for it to turn into another Rashad Bateman situation in the next 2-3 years. Shout out to Bateman, but you guys get what I'm saying. So, got to keep the main thing. That's me. Let me go ahead and get this off of the screen here. Pretty Boy Suave says, I'm going to try out for punter. Hey, do that. Do that. Let me see. Yep, y'all don't forget to like the video, subscribe as well. Okay, all right. At 14, every player is a risk. I mean, last time we picked number 14, we hit big. That Kyle Hamilton pick back in, 22? I want to say. Yeah, we hit big. That was money right there. Money in the bank. And now he's getting paid a lot of money from us. But Fano's a good idea because Stanley gets hurt a lot and he's getting old. That's a good point. Let me see. Ravens might have signed Simpson to be the starter as much as some of us don't like it, but that might be a real thing. Oh, yeah, I think he's going to start. I just don't think that Like, I think Simpson is going to start, and they're going to make Emory Jones and Andrew Voorhees battle it out for the other side, whatever the other side is. And that's if they don't go with a guard at pick number 14. Now, I can see with the way that Eric DeCosta has been moving so far, he's been getting real cute. You know what I'm saying? He's been getting real cute. I could see them potentially taking a big swing, of some sort in the draft, much like we saw back when Hollywood Brown, was traded mid-draft, right? And we ended up getting Tyler Linderbaum as well in that first round. I can see that happening, and I get it. I know Hollywood Brown wanted out, so that's a little bit of a different situation. But I could see maybe them packaging some picks. I think my guy Coach told me about an hour ago when I was on his show, like, take some of those 5th round picks and let's try to get back into the 4th round. Let's try to get back into the 3rd round. Maybe even leverage a player. I think Coach was saying, yeah, we should try to end our draft by the 4th round, which means packaging these picks to move back up. And I agree. Even if you got to pony up a player. Louisville Cardinal says Kyle Hamilton ain't all that. My brother, are you well? Because I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's about. Nah, he's a dog. He's a dog, man. He's all that and a bag of chips. Kyle Hamilton is. We got some Raiders fans in the house. Shout out to y'all. Yeah, y'all got y'all boy back. Y'all got Maxx Crosby back. He wants to be a Raider. So salute. Can't even be mad at it. Can't even be mad at it anymore. We got our 2 first-round picks back and Trey Hendrickson. I'll take that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and let me end it with this one. I don't know how many of y'all saw this today.
Right there. Yeah.
But you got Lamar Jackson boxing now. And you know what? I love this. For a couple of different reasons. Because if there's a couple of things that boxing, the sport of boxing, listen, the best athletes are always multi-sport athletes, right? So it's important to train other sports, even if you main one specific sport. So obviously Lamar Jackson's main sport is football, but there are things that you can take from other sports that apply to football, just like with your movements and things like that. See how it's making Lamar Jackson really move, like flex his hips and things like that and get low to throw that hook. These are things that can translate to being an NFL quarterback. Not to mention, more punching power comes from your forearms, right? And if you want Lamar Jackson to hold on to the football, have a bigger arm, throwing downfield, these type of workouts work, believe it or not. These type of workouts work. I mean, this is a nice little change of pace from the regular Spence Fit, Lamar Jackson workout highlights that we get every single offseason. Or him promoting the entire gym. Shout out Lamar, man. But no, I love to see this, guys. I love to see this. Especially me, like I'm a big fight fan as well. More MMA than boxing. But no, I really think that this is good for Lamar. Look at that 1-2. Oh, crisp. Okay. I'd like to see him keep his hands up just a little bit higher. That's all. Hand the ball off to that running back. That's what I'm talking about. Midsection. Okay, Mar, I see you. Lamar not worried about an extension. He's gone. It's crazy. Yeah. And yeah, like you said, world class footwork. That's another thing. Little short left Alex Pereira hook right there. But no, for like hip mobility is what I'm thinking. Like when you have to drop back in a pocket and you're, facing a 4 or 5 man rush and you get pressure coming from the middle or you get pressure coming from the sides, you got to step up in. that's when you really have to drop your hips and step forward. I think this helps with that. This definitely helps with that. The footwork of it all as well. Reflexes helps with that too. Yeah, and I agree with Brandon. Glad to see he's branching out his training. I love that. I love that. King of Demise says, hope he uses that on EDC if it comes to it. Like, that's what he's training for. He's training to whoop some ass this year. He's training to whoop some ass this year. That's what we doing. All 2026 season, we kicking ass and we taking names. I know that's right, Lamar. I know that's right, Lamar. Who's first? Probably Dan Orlovsky. Who Lamar Jackson got these hands for? Lamar has hands for who? Let's see. Dan Orlovsky. Who else, y'all? Mike Florio. He got these hands for Mike Florio. He got these hands for... Hell, if I were him, I would have hands for Colin Cowherd. I would too. I would definitely have hands for Colin Cowherd. Shoot, depending on what happens in this draft, he might have hands for EDC. For the rest of this offseason, he might have hands for EDC. I don't know, y'all. It's possible. Shefty. Oh, Nick Wright. Oh, I forgot about Nick Wright. Oh, yeah, that's right. He did call out Nick Wright for the size of his nose that one time. He probably do got hands for Nick Wright. I'm not gonna lie. Mike Flores, exactly. Shoot, he might have some hands. Shoot, Lamar might have some hands for some of us Ravens YouTubers. I know he'd be seeing some of the comments sometimes. I know he'd be seeing the comments. Lamar Jackson, he'd be on social media. He don't always say nothing, but he'd be on social media. I know he'd be seeing what we're saying. He might have hands for me. Who knows? I don't know. Shoot, we could box. We can set something up. I'm just messing around. Chris, you had to double down on it, didn't you? Had to double down on it. I never said nothing bad about Lamar. You know, I give my takes, and I get on up out of here. You feel me? I don't say nothing too bad about him. You know. Easy G says joining late, but you can tell Lamar's new to this boxing stuff. Stiff as hell on them swings. Yeah, a little stiff. Yeah, one little 1-2 where he looked pretty good. Yeah. He got to get in the flow. That's the thing about boxing. Once you get into like a flow state and like you start to your muscle memory really locks in on these movements and it becomes like a regular normal thing to you, that's when you start to get your confidence up and your power comes through as well. So I hope he keeps doing this. I really do. Tori says they got hands for you, son. He told me that. Hey, me and Zay could definitely squabble. We could definitely get down. You know what I'm saying? Me and Zay could squabble. Tori says son gonna be trying to get his autograph and say I was just playing. That's exactly what's gonna happen, honestly. Y'all know I'm just messing with y'all. But listen, all right, man. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the stream right there as we're about an hour in almost. Listen, lots of stuff going down right now in the Ravens kingdom. I think the next piece of news to be coming down the old pipeline is going to be this David Njoku news. I think that the Ravens actually go ahead and get that done. I think that they sign him. And I hope that they do it as well. I think that would be a great addition to the tight end room with him, Mark Andrews, Durham Smythe, and who worked with Declan Doyle in Chicago. So I'm all for that. Again, like I said, this is kind of just putting a little bow on the entire episode with the whole veteran signing thing over the center. Can't be it. Can't be the only move the Ravens make. Love it for depth. Can't be the only move. Maxx Crosby, kind of breaking the silence on what happened with that Ravens thing. Everybody's in the wrong in some capacity here, but Eric DaCosta, you should have never let that deal go public before the weekend started, right? You don't make a deal with Vegas before the weekend. You just don't do it. Okay. So that was that on that. I appreciate all of y'all for coming through to this episode of the show. Somebody said world star in the chat. You guys are crazy. Again, love y'all. Appreciate you guys. You guys have been awesome for me and Alex here on this channel. We truly do, you know, appreciate everything you guys do for us, showing up day in and day out on these live streams. Also on the short videos as well. We appreciate that too. It does not go unnoticed. If you could, before you get out of here, please be sure to like this video. And if you are new and you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe to the channel as well. Again, my name is Sudden Death. This is the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.